Welcome to Asylum Atelier. Welcome to Painting Discourse, and welcome to probably the last one. Not probably, I'm sure that this is the last Bed Painting Friday of the year 2024. I'm happy to be here. I'm still setting up, so it might take a while before I get to actual painting, but and I know this is a very random stream. I was not planning on being here today and painting, but then I don't know if you remember our last Bad Painting Friday. It was really bad Painting Friday, and I felt the need to come to studio and redeem myself. But it's not necessarily redeemed that I would have to do that, because I thoroughly enjoy that. But there are some things that well, not things, there are ideas that stuck with me during the Christmas, which brings me to an important question for all of you. How's your Christmas? Mine was awesome. I was with my family, and it was everything that you want from a cool family Christmas. A fun drama, ideas were exchanged, whether it is abstract ideas, philosophical, or perhaps concrete, factual. So it was. I think it was awesome. It was a lot of discussing different things. So I thoroughly enjoyed that, and hopefully you did as well. But then I kind of felt that need, like I said, to be here and continue painting. And I received a lot of cool presents. Some of them for the studio, for the atelier, and some for myself, and some for both, for the studio and myself simultaneously. And it's one of these things, or two of these things, they are for me and for the studio as well, for the Asylum Atelier, are new books. So we have a unfortunately I I don't know if I should go, and I was thinking, well, it's a complete works of Bruegel, one of my favorite painters. Let me show you the book. So this is a new edition for us, stuff that we're going to discuss, explore, and really dive into. So I'm excited myself to really dive into Bruegel. But the thing is that I don't know. Maybe you could tell me. Maybe you could help me out with this. I got this book damaged, and by damaged, I don't mean that I damaged it or someone else. It's damaged from. It's like a misprint, and it's kind of a weird and strange, because you can still see. Let me show you that. That was pretty cool. One of the images. First of all, it's bent all over the place, right? So it's kind of a weird thing. But then it has this cool misprint right here, where it was cut or bent during a printing process, because you can still see parts of printing marks for setting up the colors and borders and so on and so forth. So I'm thinking that I should go and return it, because I want to have something that is new and fresh and it's perfectly clean. you know, like new things should be, because these books are not really, these books are not cheap, quite the opposite. They're extremely expensive, and you expect a certain quality. And I don't want to say anything about the quality of these books because I have a lot of them. It's something that I am really passionate about, and I have a different editions, different years. Some of them I got actually very cheap for a couple bucks when I was in United States, because they were getting rid of them in the library and replacing them with the new versions. So I don't know right now. What should I do? Should I go and return it and ask for a proper print, or is this going to be like a collector's thing, right? After hundreds of years, oh, he has this book with the misprint. How is it possible? Because these guys are pretty good and well-known company with high quality products. So this is really like a strange thing to me. So maybe I'll just keep it. I don't know. Let me know what you think. That would be interesting to see what's gonna happen. But anyway, yeah, I'm here. I'm back with the last Bad Painting Friday. Excited and pumped to paint. And I was walking, and I'm late with this Bad Painting Friday because it's almost 2, but I was walking around this. It's 1:30 or 1:30 p.m. And I was walking around the studio, and I didn't know what to paint. I didn't even know why I came here today. It was some kind of a inner instinct that I haven't been here for a while. I'm longing or yearning to be here and paint. So I found myself here in the studio, absolutely unprepared to actually even stream or record. And then I realized that I received the presents. I brought the presents for my family, and I think that painting something for a studio, or being here as a present for Asylum Atelier itself. So I decided to give Asylum a present, and what should be better than what it all is about, and those are all paints. And I have some tubes that I used, and you can see that they're all different shapes and curves. This is how I took them out from my drawer with paints. And I almost wanted to say with pens. It's a little shelf with the paint that I have, oil paints that I have, and I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that. And I just throw them around, and I made it extra hard for myself because last time I really suffered with that challenge of random pigments, very weak cobalt. And it was, I don't want to say it was disaster. I felt the pain of learning again, and it was so refreshing. I felt really 15 years younger, standing in front of an easel for the first time and struggling with pigments. And it kind of made me feel extremely happy and maybe even sentimental. And it's just, Christmas and sentiments and melancholy goes together very well. I'm drinking a tea. And I felt really happy about this experience. Not about the painting. Painting was a disaster, but the experience was awesome. Let me maybe even clip this a little bit more. I just want to secure that canvas a little better. So I decided to paint. Something. A little bit more challenging again, something that I'm not used to, and it's white on white on white, and that poses a lot of difficulties. not only for myself, but also for experienced painters. It's something that I remember I was taught to, not taught, I don't want to say that I've never done that. I haven't done that as a student. And I remember one of my masters, and I talked about him a lot, it was Ron Lemon, and he told me that if you really want to understand the sensitivity of a pigment and understand all these really minute shifts, just paint white objects on top of white objects in a white background and a white ground plane. And I think that he mentioned something like having a white cloth and then white plate and white egg and all these weird different forms, and not only forms but also, very importantly, also a different materials, right? So cloth is a little bit less reflective. It absorbs a light a little bit more because of that, scattering of light. And then we have something very reflective like a plate, because it has that, shiny glaze on top of it. And egg is somewhere in the middle, plus it's a roundy shape, and then you have a background, so you really have to study your shadows, and you really have to study all these minute and very, very subtle shifts and changes. So I just put together some tubes with pigments, and it's the one in the back, the big one, it's a titanium white that I used for a large fragment painting that I'm working on, that you might have seen me working on actually during the regular streams. And then I have like a tube with that Velasquez medium, or it doesn't necessarily need to be Velasquez medium. It's just a linseed oil mixed with I'm blanking the name of that. It's a oh god, calcite. I almost I blanked it out. It's a calcite with linseed oil, and it's not regular linseed oil. It's a boiled linseed oil, or you can call it, or there's a different way, which is a stain oil. It's a slightly different process of making it. It's basically very thick, a honey-like consistency of oil. And there is some other titanium white from a different brand. And it's also a metaphor about me painting white on white on white with white pigment that is actually inside the tube. So it's kind of fun to do that. And I also again took that classic 15 by 20, or in this case actually it's 20 by 15, because I'm working in the portrait mode, not in the horizontal landscape kind of setup. And I was just looking for a composition in my head, and I landed with this kind of randomly, and I decided, so let's experiment with this. And I'm thinking about this more in terms of again, just the shapes. They kind of work together nicely. And a problem is that, again, I have a slightly different view, in my view, and I can't really point the camera exactly the same way, because it would be in the way, and it would be really difficult for me to paint, because it would be right in my view. So you might see it from a slightly different perspective. a little bit more rotated towards my left. So I have a gap between the tube in the foreground and the tube all the way in the background. But it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you're not going to be thinking about this as something to paint from the photographs, but rather from life, which brings me to a very important disclaimer. Please do not watch this video, but rather, in order to fully experience and enjoy this, join me and paint alongside with me, because that's something that going to give you way much more insight and also pleasure to work. So think about it, and while I'm just setting up and thinking about what to do and how to compose it properly into a frame, because there is different options, and the reason why I chose a portrait setup or vertical setup, which means that I have my canvas taller than wider. It's because I have I was just looking through my paintings and the ones that I was framing, and there is plenty of these horizontals or landscape-oriented paintings that I have. So I decided to do vertical, just for a change. So I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna think about how to put these things together on canvas so they are kind of in a pleasing way. And I have a semi-limited palette, or actually it is limited palette. It's just the white, yellow, black, red, and maybe I should get what could be. I don't think I can imagine to have a. I'm gonna squeeze the last bits of that beautiful vermilion. I think it's only only couple drops of it there left, but I think it's going to be enough for today. So this is it. This is the vermilion. So let's fully enjoy it. Let's experiment with that even more, and then hopefully I will have time to get more of this pigment before the end of the year, so I can continue on my large fragment painting, because I want to, like I mentioned, I want to have it finished as soon as possible. And I'm gonna squeeze every little drop of this, because if you watch this regularly, you know how much I enjoy this pigment. It's a new addition. I switched to this from cadmium red for whatever reason. I don't know. I just felt like I want to do a little change, and this was my first tube, and I'm very excited about this pigment. So I'm gonna continue using it. Hopefully, unless they disconnect it or discontinue producing it. So there it is. I have that vermilion there. So I have my titanium white, yellow ochre. This is sienna, raw sienna, just a little darker orangey, yellowish orangey. This is my red, which is that vermilion. Then I have a dark red, and there is like a darker brown and ivory black. It's a very, very simple setup, and I'm gonna try to replicate this. And the name of the game is working with white and values and the very subtle shifts in temperatures, and you can see it in the shadow. Hopefully, that shadow beautifully just moves from kind of like a warmish to neutral to cool, and that is just a really that kind of a Vermeer-esque effect that I would like to achieve today. And if you remember, I talked about Vermeer and bunch of so, and about his beautiful paintings that he created, and then these subtle shifts and movements, and beautiful like a wall that he painted. That wall itself with Vermeer looks like a beautiful abstract painting, and he understood very well these subtle shifts and changes and movements. And he didn't paint that much, actually. Well, didn't paint. We don't have that many paintings of his. So it's maybe, what, 40 that I know of? Or they are actually, that they are proven to be his. So I'm gonna try to paint this with these subtle shifts. And since this is a Bad Painting Friday, it's all about the experiments and all about enjoying painting. So let's do as many mistakes as possible here, just to have fun. So I think I'm ready. I'm gonna do a little quick drawing, suggest myself what to paint. And before I start, I want to point out a thing that I was talking about last time, which was very important, and I'm going to keep it in mind from now on all the time. And if I forget it, please remind me that. About that professionalism when it comes to painting. Even a Bad Painting Friday deserves to be professional in the sense that, let me just put on gloves so I can get ready. And that it's, and if you haven't seen it, definitely check that introduction to a previous Bad Painting Friday. It's all on YouTube, so you can definitely find it out there. And where I'm talking about these important ideas of making a proper boundaries for yourself. So then when you go to a framing shop, they don't cut out the parts that you want to have there compositionally, only to fit it into your frame. So I created a 20 by 15 rectangle, then I taped it around. So this is my 20 by 15 rectangle, and I'm going to stay within. I created my grid and made sure that that everything is symmetrical when it comes to this. So then I'm not bothered to trying to fit into these like a specific boundaries. And I'm going to start with just simply thinking about the values and the composition itself. And I don't have a specific idea of what to do. So yeah, and I'm going to work with the canvas. You remember that's another one of our previous endeavors into my scrap materials. This is the very old canvas that I'm reusing. It's really, and I think what should I do is very quickly do this even more, because there is a brand name right there and I don't want to. Okay, so that's that. No one sees this. Let's get into this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to think about the composition first, and I'm looking at this and I'm really interested into that shadows and the kind of a C curves the shadow created. And it's more like a, let me just get a little closer. I hope that I'm not going to be in the frame. Hopefully not. Let me see. Well, I guess I'm not. Shouldn't be, at least. I'm mixing like a darker, warmer. This is not very dark painting, so I have to be careful. I don't want to make it dark necessarily, right? So I'm going to be careful with this. And it's already, I'm starting on a really dark canvas. These are my, actually, truth to be told, this is so old that I don't even understand how, why I went so dark. Maybe because I just, I felt that that's that contrast there. But anyway, I'm thinking about when it comes to composition, do you see this kind of a curve that's go right here, and then it's curving up right here with that shadow, and then I have like somewhere here that top of the big tube, and I know that you can't really see it the same way as I do, but it would be like here. This is the tube, and then it goes down like so, right here, and then this is the other tube right here, and then there's this one right here. It goes roughly about right here. So this is what I'm thinking right now, very abstractly, and I'm having fun with this, and I want to have fun with this. I don't want to be too specific, and I'm going to start with just thinking about this value scale, and I think that when I'm looking at this would be somewhere when I'm squinting. Well, it's not the halfway point. The dark's right here. I mean, this is probably the darkest spot right here, or darkest area rather. There's like a little, and I'm going to think about that as my darkest value. Well, perhaps the darkest value is going to be the darkness right here, actually, truth to be told. And I should maybe move it a little bit more here. Maybe a little bit more, let me get more paint. Somewhere there, that would be probably the darkest. And then there is I'm going to put it somewhere here. Yeah. Like so, perhaps, because I want to catch that little lighter value that I see right here. And it's more like get a little bit more, like a little slightly warmer. And these are all relative. So I'm just going to do this right here. I'm trying to connect these shadows. So I'm somewhere here. And then all this is in the shadow right here as well, right? So I want to keep that as well. And then it's connecting here, and this is all in shadow. Even though it doesn't look that way, this is all in shadow. So these are my kind of abstract. And then I see a shadow right here, and then it dissolves into a halftone. So it's going to be like a soft transition all the way here. Very so. I'm thinking right now only two values. I don't even think. Let me maybe just be a little bit clear about this. So it's somewhere here. I'm thinking more in terms of black and white than anything else. And you know that that's my preferable way to think in the composition stage, rather than just a shadow. So I'm grouping everything together that I think that's dark. And then maybe I could make I see like a nice little transition right here. Oh, my head is not in the way. Maybe a little thinner on this side because the shadow and the kind of a D, and this goes more this way. It's somewhere more here. Yep. There's a little bit less space there. Right there. And maybe I can just leave it and it goes outside, so I have some little bit of more this way. And I want to get that curve right there. And there is a, believe it or not, I see a light right here, like so. Right there. So cleaning up that canvas a little bit to get that shape right. That's the only thing that I care about right now. So all this. Connecting and it's softening all the way here. So this is probably where I am at this point with composition, and I think I'm okay with this. It could be better, but it could be way worse, and maybe I could push this a little bit more towards here to give that a little bit more space, and then this could go in the light, sketching a little bit of light there. And then I have a light somewhere around here. This is where the cap on that. Yeah, the cap on that, that's going to be the cap of that. And it's slightly smaller, so it's just this big only. It's just I'm trying to get the shapes right and size of the shape right. So it goes a little bit more here. Because there's not that many elements right here. And let me put it even slightly different. This is not really a shape that you can recognize immediately what these are. So I'm trying to get the drawing a little bit more accurate. So I want to get the width and the length right. Start with that vermilion. Let me go a little warmer here. And you see like a warmer area right here. Right here. And then I think that the darkest area, it's right here. And then a little point right here. And then I cannot forget the little shadow right here. And it goes maybe more like this. Yep. And there there is a little accent right here. I don't want it to fall under the same, so I'm just going to push a little bit more here, like a little, the place where, like so. And then this area right here is actually touching the background, so it's going to be the darkest right here, and it drops down very quickly, but the reason is because there is a lot of light around, but it goes this way, like so. So that's that kind of a curve, C curve that I was talking about, or right now it reminds me of letter D. And this is going to be a light area right here. Yep. Like a dark area right here. That defines that shape of the tube. And then it goes down like so. And this is going to be a darker area right here, but it's darker not because it's a darker value. I'm just making a note myself. It's starting to be like, it's like a dirty right here. And let's just push this lighter. And believe it or not, I see a little edge shadow on the top of this as it curves behind. Right, so there is an edge right here. There is a light area, and there is like a little crease right here, which is going to be super light, and then it goes down like so. So this is the shape of that tube. This is going to be right there. And again, I have to be careful because these tubes, they are vertical. They cannot just, lean whatever way they want. You remember I talked about is how important for figures, how important for me when it comes to figures is, of course, anatomy, but then weight that these figures are carrying. And I think I went too much out. Where are my paper towels? There they are. Let me do a little adjustments because I think that I have too much. They're too close. Right there. Right there. Very close right here. What I'm doing right now is maybe this needs to be a slightly steeper angle. Right, so because it's in perspective, it's going towards me, and I'm trying to also design the negative shape, right? So it looks kind of nice. And it's this way, then it goes down all the way here, and then it's cutting in. And then it cuts in. Same on the other side. It's right here, and then it cuts in. And then there is that darker area right here, and then the cap. It's somewhere around here. Maybe. let's see. Maybe I can push a little. Maybe it should go a little higher. Maybe it should go a little higher. Yeah, because right now it looks too tall. And I think the width is correct, but the length is wrong. So if I make it a little higher, right? So I'm shortening this, so automatically, visually, it's going to get wider. Yep, yep. So that will give me a little bit more space for that cap. A white area right here, there's like a sliver of light that is hitting right here, which would define that shape. And I think that when I'm looking right here, I'm thinking about the lightest area. What would be the lightest area? Where do I want to have my focal point? Well, would it be right here or right here? Well, this is asking as well for well, let's see how it's going to play out. It's certainly around right here, this area for sure. Maybe not. And like I said, I see it from a slightly different angle than you are, and that's why I have some reflections that goes toward my eye instead of towards the lens of a camera. So the highest light or the brightest spot might be different for you because of a highlight. But when I'm thinking about that strictly structurally, this is the closest to me, this area right here. So that should be the lightest, right? This is slightly lighter right here. Never mind, I'll adjust that width. Okay, I think that when it comes to composition, I'm okay. I'm fine with this. Even though when I'm looking on the camera, it looks also cool when it's overlapping a little bit. So I would have to, because right now these two, the shapes are not connected, but I have to, we see I push this little bit more. No, I don't want to say aggressively, but a little bit more. Because I want that to be the connection, the shadow, compositionally. And I see that penumbrum effect right here because of multiple light sources. So I have to be very careful with this. And the angle is probably right. Yeah, I'm very close. Okay, all right. So I'm going to switch to different brush, I guess. I don't even know which one. Well, let's try this guy. I'm going to pick new brush. And this is my thicker white because I want to work a little bit more impasto. So let's see, what are we going to start first? Let's do maybe the shadows. You see how impasto this pigment is. Some of the pigments I like to use like this because they have a specific way that they work. So I'm gonna hit the correct value first. So I'm looking some like a mid-tone between black and white. So let's say number 5. because this is a very light painting, or going to be a light painting. And I want to use vibrant pigments. I want to make it, and this is going to sink in shadows a lot, or should, right? So I want to make sure that I have a nice saturated shadows, which is a really interesting exercise for me, because and also for you that if you struggle with nice vibrant, and when I say vibrant, I don't mean necessarily like super high saturation, high chroma. This is really that exercise of understanding the slight shifts between your mixtures. So you can see that this one looks like a natural gray, but I know that I add yellow ochre into it, and I also add a little bit of that vermilion. So just to show you a comparison, this would be just black and white. And I'm going to mix the same value, and you can see how you will immediately be able to recognize the difference. How much more blue this pigment is. Well, maybe you won't, but I will with my eyes. So this needs to go a little darker. And what I'm doing right now, I'm matching the same value, but this one is going to be really blue. That means this one is going to be very cool gray. And just to demonstrate that a little bit, I might do, check this out. This is my shadow, mid-range shadow, cool version. And this is neutral version right here. And that's such a slight shift that you can't probably even see it on camera, but I can with my eye. And this is where this is how I'm going to play with these pigments. And I'm going to think about, like, maybe this area it's way warmer than this area right here, because it's catching light from all the reflection, and the shadow is not as strong as it goes further away, right? Because the light is hitting it here, and it travels all the way here to cast a shadow. That's I'm gonna no, my apologies. The reason why, well, when you think about a light, it's going here, and you think in ideal conditions, or maybe if you use artificial light, that actually, how would I describe this? Oh, well, when we think about a light bulb, right? So this is going to be our light bulb. When I think about the light bulb, it radiates a light from the point this way, right? And when I think about sun, I think about, actually, because of the size of the sun, I think about a large surface that actually goes this way, directly down, but also the large surface works as a lot of tiny light bulbs like this that emits light this way as well, all directions. So if I have object right here, this one, as the light passes it and then hits right here, it will cast shadow like this. So this would be a shadow of the object that goes directly down. Whereas when I'm thinking about a sun, so this is going to be the sun, the shadow of the same object would be more like this, because it's hitting all these directions. And this effect of softening right here is that penumbrum, because you're getting these the lights from all over the place. It's difficult for me to describe it here on the canvas because I don't have enough space, but maybe I can switch later to a Photoshop and show you what I mean. Maybe in the Blender. So I'll work with the different light sources and I'll just move them left and right, and then we can take a picture of it and adjust it in Photoshop. That will be maybe a cool exercise for later. Maybe even today. Depends on the time, because the sun's gonna disappear in a second. Anyway, so I have this warm shadow, and I still think that I can go a little darker there. I have to be careful. The darker I go here, the harder for me is going to keep the nice relationship. So I'm going to warm it up a little bit more. And I went from yellow ochre to raw sienna. The only reason I went to raw sienna is because I want to keep the same value and the highest saturation, right? So I can take the raw sienna because it's a darker on value than yellow ochre and mix into this. It's still going to warm it up. I'm not thinking about making it orange. I'm thinking about the black being warmer mixture, right? And if it's going to turn, because I know that this is very blue, it's turning green. In order to stop from turning green, I can add a little bit more that vermilion, right? Because I want to offset that, so I want that neutral. Yeah, this is way closer to how I want to have it when it comes to shadow. It is kind of an orange green. It seems that way. Okay, yeah, I'm close to value and saturation and hue as well. So I'm just gonna go right there. And you might be like, oh, that's too light. Well, yes and no. The reason why you think that it's too light, or it looks that it's too light, I'm not sure that I don't think that you are thinking about it, that it's too light. It's because I have like I mentioned, I have a dark canvas. But check this out. I'm gonna grab a different brush and show you how powerful how dark that is by just adding white next to it. This is pure white. Right? Right now it kind of makes sense, but I don't want to continue with this because that's just a pure white, and it's wrong. So let me, and while I'm doing this, I'm gonna adjust my painting as well. And I'm gonna play with shadows for a while, for a bit. And I have this really thick white, so I'm working, I'm trying to cover that canvas, not necessarily with a super thin pigment, I'm playing with that same idea that I talked about all the time, and that's a transparency. So I am kind of a dry brushing that pigment up there. Maybe a little bit more this way. Oh, that might be too much, but that's okay. I can make it a little slightly bigger on this side. And then all this is in the shadow, and it's going here and down. This is in the shadow, so I'm just going to connect it together. This is in the shadow, so I'm connecting it, and this as well, and a little piece right here. So, and this as well. Right? So these are my shadows right there, and they look really, really wrong and weird. But what I like about this is that I have, oops, I hit the camera, I'm sorry. What I like about this is it's showing me the difference between warm and cool. So when I squint my eyes, I put the cool pigment next to very, very warm underpainting, right? So automatically, naturally, this is starting to look like a shadow outside. It's weird. I feel almost, and we talked about this a little bit, and there was a question also with you about, let me just maybe spread it a little bit more here. And the reason why I'm not painting opaquely necessarily, like full opaque pigment, but with a dry brush, because I want that warmth to go through that cool pigment and gives it that kind of a neutral vibe, or maybe a little bit more in terms of that optical mixing. So it's not warm, it's not cool, it's neutral, but it's like a pointillism created by dry brushing, or skipping a paint on a pigment, skipping a pigment on a canvas. I am sorry. All right. So I have that, and let me right now hit it with the white so I can adjust this properly. And I'm not going to go with this, even though it's very, very light, and you might think that it's light, I'm not going to go with straight white because I need a saturation. So I'm going to mix, and you can see this is very gooey pigment. I'm loving this. So I'm going to push this because the background, it's way warmer than the foreground. And this is something to think about. This is why you do these white on white on white, because you can see that these are both the same white papers. These are from the same same material, but since the light is hitting them differently, this is a way warmer right here. And I can see that warmth. And I'm going to just use this thicker paint, just really push it. And with this negative space right here, I am shaping this positive space. And again, it's up to you. How much do you want to push this? This is going to be more like a impressionistic painting. That's why I chose these pigments, and we're just going to have fun with this. I'm certainly having fun, and I'm experimenting. And I think as it goes, you see, like, this is the lightest area. when I'm looking at this is the lightest area. You might think that this is light as well, but it has to be darker than this because it's surrounding only by darkness. So I'm thinking about this scale, like this is maybe number 8, maybe 9, no, 8, and this is, I'm sorry, this is like number 8 or maybe 10, and this is somewhere 7. So when I'm thinking about black being 1 and white being 10, so here I'm very close to pure white on the scale, like it's 8, 8.5 maybe. And this area right here, it's slightly darker. And as it goes up, it's getting darker as well, right? So I'm gonna add a little bit of this into my mixture just to make it a little darker. That might be too much. Or you can see how gooey this pigment is. It's so good. Yep. And then slowly it's get darker and darker. And instead of me just chasing that exact value, I'm just going to use that transparency by dry brushing it there. So I'm going to slightly make it darker. You see how it moves from very light all the way to dark. And I didn't really mix that much. It's more about connecting these together. So I can hit it from the other side right here. Again, just shaping that. It goes right here. And then I can just mix this together. I have to be careful. So this is more like a very, very impressionistic way of making a value scales, perhaps. Maybe I could add a little bit of warmth into this, because I think that it's a little warmer there in the area. And the reason why I want it a little warmer, so it doesn't mix with the shadow that much. It's like a kind of a yep. Maybe just push it right here. A little warmer right here. Yep. Maybe even warmer. Just to show that contrast. Yep. Because I still want to show the difference between light and dark. And since I have already pigment right here on this side, I can go slightly I'm just softening it. I'm just softening it. Okay, cool. Let me continue with it's almost like a bluish. So let me maybe mix that pigment with a palette knife rather than with the brush, because my brush is already polluted and I have to be very clean with this. So I'm gonna grab a black and white, pure white and a lot of white, because I want light value, but I want it being really, really cool. As cool as I can make it. Let me grab another brush. Let's grab this fan brush. Make better coverage. You see the difference right there? I would just probably somewhere around here, and then the beautiful light warm, it's right here. Let's connect them. Yep. And the background could be maybe thinking slightly darker even. Yep. Around here, so I can make that tube neutral. Right there, and then there's a that light area right here. Cool. All the way here. So I want to correct. I see some of a compositional. That was too much vermilion, because I want it to be with a slight saturation. But if different temperature. Right here on the top. So you can see the difference not through value, but with a hue. Just a little bit. There. Yeah, I think that works. And then you can see the same thing right here. And since I have a pigment already there, I'm going lighter because I know I'm going to mix it together when I place these brush strokes there, right? So it could go way lighter than you think. All the way here. Right, this and more here. Oh, I'm enjoying this very, very much. Maybe I could go a little darker here. Well, let's see. Let me see. Maybe later I can correct it. This is a nice edge right here, and this is where I need to make this a little bit more. Yep. And then let me just push this cap really dark. And then this darker. I think I can go a little darker with these values around here. And then maybe right here as well, where is going to be that occlusion. Area. Okay, and this can go a little more this way. Yep. Here, and then slightly lighter here on the side. Okay, I know this looks very abstract, but that's cool because we're going to play with that abstract idea. Let's take advantage of it. And I am not trying to be extremely precise. I'm just trying to hit. Oh, this could be a lighter value right here as well, so I can push it right here. And then I see like a little edge on the top right here as well. Just a little bit. It's just going to give it a little bit more of that softness. Oops, that's too. Yeah, connecting right here. Cool. And connecting here. Okay, I'm trying to unify these things. And there is a little darker kind of a darker value. I'm just going to make a note of it right here as well. Where is that Where is that opening for that cap? Right there. It's all good. It's all good. Yep. I need to add a little bit more. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Yep. Make it a little lighter. And this is bothering me right now here. So, and the reason why it's bothering me because I can't really see. Oops. I should have used a dark tape or blue tape, because right now I don't know where the edges are because I'm working with. All right, so I'm just going to make sure that I know this is the edge of my composition, right? Because what you remember, I always talked about this, composition is the number one thing for me. So I'm painting these boundaries for myself. And for those of you who work either traditionally, or this is also for digital sketching, very good practice, because then you can see clearly the boundaries where the composition ends, because sometimes it happens that you want to continue here, right, and you like the composition there. It has to be here in the black frame. So I'm just framing it myself there, right? So this is a correct value. I like the value here. I should probably hit it more here. And maybe I should push the shadow a little darker. I might have mistake. I might have made a mistake here to make it too light. And I think it should continue a little bit more this way, compositionally. So let me just hit it there. Like so. Yeah. Yeah, there's a really, so I think that I have to make this little, even though I like it, I have to make probably this little darker, the background, and make this a lighter area right there. Let's see. And maybe I could push this. Oops. No worries. Okay. I'm thinking about the shape of the shadow. So it compositionally works. Yeah. And then I should probably hit it with a light value right here. I see a little bit, and then this is going to be a lighter. That is that other tube. Light value here. can start adjusting this and decide right now what I want to do with a. I have to stand up. Let me just go. Yeah. Let me just go get warm tea, and I'll be right back. Just a second, I'll be right back. All right, I am back with a warm tea. Let's continue. worried that a sun suddenly decided to, well, not sun, it got darker very quick, and I think I have maybe a couple more minutes maybe half an hour to get as close to finish as possible, only because it's going to be super dark to see anything. And you remember that I like to work from natural light, so let me just put the gloves on. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Warm tea is right here. It's really cold in my country right now. Unexpectedly. I think it's -5 right now outside, which is super cool, but let me double check that actually, because I might be. I'm sorry, it's 1 degree. It feels like -5. It was in the morning. I'm sorry, my I did not refresh my weather app, but I can still feel. Well, maybe actually it's minus because I have a temperature right here, and it's cold in the studio. So I don't know if that's exact measurement. But anyway, let me continue with this. Like I said, I don't have that much time. So I have this. Maybe I could push this a little darker in some areas. So I'm getting a little bit more of the neutral. Slightly darker value. So I have a little bit more to play with right now. So I want to go darker right here. Ooh, is it that dark? No way. Okay, all right. That's cool, that's cool. It'll work. I want to get a little bit of that shadow. A little bit of the edge that I see right here. Right, and then a little bit right here. I'm just making these adjustments so it looks more like a tube of paint. Where are my paper towels? There they are. So a little bit more of this right here, and then it's slightly warmer on this side. It's really difficult to do these adjustments right now because maybe I need a just give me a second. I need different version of white pigment. Well, different version. I have this thick one that I was so proud of, but right now I have to put a I need to work with slightly different one. And where is it? I am disorganized, as always. There it is, I got it. You remember I have the Ranier weaker titanium. Okay, so this is why I love oil painting so much, because there's so many variations of different pigments, and Bed Painting Friday is the best way to explore these things, so I'm really going for it. I might actually introduce that cobalt blue from the last time, because I still have it on the palette on the side, so actually let's bring it up. So these are the pigments from last Bed Painting Friday. That's the cobalt blue. Because perhaps I should push these. I see like a lot of blue right here, but I don't want to use it. I want to keep experimenting with that limited palette and try to go through that. So I have a lighter area right here. Maybe I can push this a little darker. That could be good. So I'm gonna darken this a little bit around right here. I know this might sound weird, but I have to organize these values. Reorganized, because yep, nice. Maybe a little neutral. Oh, this is perfect. These two pigments, actually, these two whites, the first one that I laid down, it's really sticky and it's nicely kind of pushes. So I'm going to create a little bit of like interest there, so Rembrandt would be proud. So it's not all symmetrical. And then a little adjustment right here on the top, and yep. And right now I have a warmer, cooler, and I'm going to transition into this so you don't see the difference. So there is no line there. Even though I see the line there, I don't want the background to be like this. And right now you can see how this stands out a little bit. And I can still bring it even more if I introduce a little bit more potent pigment. And by potent, I mean I'm gonna go into these. Check this out. Yep. Even lighter. Yep. Let me do the same thing right here. And then a little bit right here. Oops. I see like almost like a greenish right? So I'm creating these little adjustments there. And I'm still being very, very loose with this. And I don't know if you can see how dark is getting right here, but it's awesome. You can at least understand what's happening during throughout the day. And I want to create like a little bit of interest right here. So I'm going to cut into this because I see a little bit of this. And then maybe I can push it a little bit more. Right here. I want to get rid of some of these lines right here because I want to connect it. And let's make this area right here a little lighter. Just a touch. I see like a lighter value around. Around the edge, just so I show the form a little bit. Yep. All right, that, and then this needs to go just a bit, yes, like so, right here. And then soft transition, and then right here, and it should disappear because this is a reflection already, a little bit of reflection. I see a reflection here. Cool, and then there's a dark value right here, just a little touch. Perfect. Right there. Okay. I also see a little lighter value here. To make that shadow, and then warmer here. So we're creating that interest. And it goes all the way this way. And then here, it's connected with the shadow. So I have to make this precise. So it makes sense, right? This way, and then it would be cool if I could actually make a little edge right here on the top. So I'm trying to give it a little bit more volume up there. Oh, hi. It looks awesome, but oh, thank you. I'm just having fun. This is the last bed painting Friday at the end of the year. I felt that I'm here alone, and I was just painting myself and just having fun. Glad to see you. I hope that you are enjoying Christmas as much as I do. And I just decided to just jump into studio and work a little bit. A little redemption from the last bed painting Friday. I'm working with the semi-limited palette, very, very impressionistic. That's the setup for today. Continuing with that, very, very bad experience last time. So I'm struggling as well here, but I am enjoying this. I'm enjoying the hell out of this. Out of this. So your Christmas was great. Mine was awesome as well. Oh, I had um, so much fun. It was. I mentioned this at the beginning of a stream. It was a full package. It was fun. It was controversial. You know, when the family gets all together, sometimes there are different ideas. So, but I'm not complaining and anything like that. There's no like fights or anything like this. But there is you know, these different ideas, different thoughts when the family meets. So it was very pleasant. So thank you for asking. It was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. So I have to say that I am fortunate to have a large family. Okay, I'm making these small adjustments here only because I want to work on the shape a little bit. But this is a really fun exercise. Oh, I'm just gonna read your I'm gonna read your comment. I ate a lot of nice food. Now I feel fat and lazy. Well, you know what? I know exactly how you feel. I don't know if I should say fortunately or unfortunately, but I know what are you talking about. I know exactly. It's pretty bad. I feel fat myself as well. But that's like a, how would we call this? Like a Christmas occupational hazard? I don't know what to say. It's like a, it's what can we do? It's Christmas. You don't really have that many options, right? Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna say fortunate. I should say that I was collecting a lot of food for myself, not thinking about how I'm going to look later on. Yeah, you like the collection joke, right? It's like a fun way to say that I ate way too much. But tomorrow, I want to go for I mean, my mom um, is into a Nordic walking, so we're just gonna Nordic walk uphill. So I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be fun, pretty sure. Oops, it's too dark. I'm pretty sure that a couple calories are going to be burned. Hopefully, well, I'm hoping for it. Nothing's going on except waiting for sun. Yeah. Well, my son just disappeared rapidly, so I don't know how long I can continue, but I needed to do some more bed painting Fridays. It's just I couldn't. It's actually, I'm thinking about this as a gift to a studio. I mentioned it at the beginning that I received a lot of cool presents, and this atelier and this stream gave me a lot this year. So I felt like I have to be here. I have to make a present for a studio. So I decided to do this little painting with the empty tubes as like a small memorabilia for myself. plan for the atelier and how much fun and how important this is for me. So this is really just me having fun. I don't think that this is something to talk about, but it's that kind of a challenge when you know most of my paintings are done this specific way, and I felt that this is a good time to try something different, a little bit different, not extremely different, but a little different. You like the composition setup? Oh, thank you. It's just I didn't know what to do, and then it was staring right into my eyes. It was so simple to just, you know, what could be better than painting a paint. It sounds really quirky, but I'm really enjoying this. I need to adjust a couple shadows and a couple shapes, but the only problem that I have is that this is too much of a repetition, so I have to think of something there. But I don't know what. I'm going to add a little bit of like interesting parts, and this would be like these little. Let's make them a little warmer, just these lines right there. I guess I'll have to make tomorrow my bed painting Saturday to make up for today. If I can imagine to not be lazy. Oh, well, I might join you tomorrow, but like I said, only after. It's going to be definitely afternoon. So maybe we could do some bed painting Saturday digital. So we have like we enclose the circle and just, you know, having fun together. But it's going to be definitely later evening because, like I said, I need to go outside and I need to work a little bit. Not work, but I mean, I need to move a little bit because I was sitting all that time during the Christmas, not movement at all. And you might hear it in my, no, oh man, I'm sorry, but in my voice, there is like a little, again, that nasally sound that I hate so much. And it's because I felt little under the weather. So I really didn't want to walk or do anything. Now let's maybe connect this just so it's just not there. And the reason is, I'm feeling fine. It's, you know what it is? I thought of that I'm here in the studio every day. You have that rhythm, working rhythm, and your body's active, and it almost feels like a germs and bacteria. Since you're still active, you're still moving, you're still doing something. It almost feels like the bacteria and, you know, like viruses. They don't have a chance to spread and attack you. That when you're still like in the motion, and then the moment that Christmas Eve started, or you know, Christmas Day, because in my country we start at 24th and we have a dinner on 24th as a main dinner, main Christmas dinner, and then I felt like I relaxed for a second. In my country is that we start 24th with the Christmas dinner. Then we give ourselves a present, and for religious people, Catholics especially, because it's predominantly Catholic country, then there is a midnight mass when people go to church in the midnight, and that's when 25th starts with us already, you know. Yeah, it's midnight mass. It's from 24th to 25th. It's like a very like, you know, I'm from a village, so a whole village is in the church. I didn't go this year because, like I said, I felt a little down with the weather. I didn't want to. And it's more like a. It's not necessarily like a. It's not anymore. It's. I know that it's a religious thing, but it's more like a social thing rather than religious, especially during the Christmas. So there will be probably one day in the year that I go to church, but this time, like I said, a feeling of being sick, and I didn't want it to spread any sickness, so I skipped that this year. So, but you would be surprised. There is a lot of seniors there. I mean, the whole village goes, or most of the whole. It's just like they sing songs, and there's like a beautiful like that. How is it called? Like like a, how do you call it? It is a it's like the church built and not only church, cities as well. They have like a, I don't want to call it diorama, but it's like the recreation of a stable where Jesus was born. So you can see Jesus and Joseph and Mary. I don't remember how it's called. I'm blanking it right now. But it's very, very cool visually, you know, and different parts, different areas of city, or different churches. They have their different variations of this, and it's very, very nice to just go and see, because usually local artists are making these. I mean, you know, you live in Europe. Europe is a very, very old country. We have a lot of these religious activities, let's call it that way, and they're part of they're part of the life of people. They don't believe in God. They still celebrate Christmas. So it's kind of cool. It always brings people together, and you can see that, you know, even though there's so much evil outside, for a moment, at least for a couple minutes, or hours rather, we can be all cool. But today is 27. It's a normal work day actually, so people are back in stores and shopping malls, and I think that the huge winter sales started today early morning. So it's all back to normal again. I think I should compositionally push this a little bit more up right here to to make it a little lighter to create that kind of a nicer. It's kind of asking for it because at the beginning I was talking about that I want to create a kind of a C curve as a composition. So I'm going to push that a little bit more, and then maybe I could do like a lighter. I'm going to use this cobalt blue because I feel this needs to be really blue, cobaltish blue. So let's play these with these weak pigments. Weak. I said weak because they have yeah. Let's bring a little bit more of that. Yep. A little bit more of that variety right there. Yeah. And let me hit it in the shadows a little bit. That's gonna be fun as a reflection because I can tell that there is a blue steel reflection. For those of you know Zoolander right here. It needs to go darker, and there's a little bit right here as a. You're glad it's almost over, it threw off your schedule. Yeah, it happens. Same for me. I'm usually, since I started to stream, I was, up early morning, and today I felt like, nah, I'm not going anywhere. I don't want to. But then, I was sitting at home and I felt like, well, I don't want to be here in my apartment because there's no fun here. So I mentioned at the beginning that I don't even know how I got here. It was just a natural instinct. This is where I want to be. So and since I'm here, what else? What better? How better to spend my time if not by painting? And I really didn't have anything prepared, so I was kind of struggling. And like I said, the whole idea is that even the studio deserves a little presence. So. But it's getting dark and I want to continue, but I can't see anything. It's annoying. Yeah, I absolutely understand that. You said that your schedule is off, and yes, I couldn't even find my brushes and pigments and so on. And right now, I'm kind of in the autopilot. I don't even know what I'm doing here. I'm just placing the pigments on top. Yeah, I need to get back to a proper schedule. Yeah, and I have so many ideas that I would like to turn into actual projects, and it's just I just want to sit and eat. Which is annoying. There's a little lighter value right here. Did I? I don't know. I'm just having fun because it's Bad Painting Friday, And I was really tired of, like I said, I was tired of sitting at home, and I get easily bored with myself, and then I'll naturally go. How the holiday. You know, the problem is that I am really easily, I don't want to say manipulated, but uh, it's easy for me um, to just start watching random things and doom scrolling, Pinterest, not even, not even, nothing specific. It's just, when I'm here in the studio, I'm looking at the paintings and I'm thinking about what to adjust and um, what to look at. And I was at home and I was just, just not even knowing what I'm doing. And then you watch like random videos on YouTube that who cares about those? They just, they're just there. Oh, so you were gaming. What did you game? Tell me what's the game? Was it a Path of Exile 2 that everybody's playing right now? What do you play? Share with us. Ah, Horizon Down Zero and now Horizon Forbidden West. Okay, all right. You're not gonna believe me, but I was looking at my computer and I fired it up a Path of Exile, but the first one because I've never played that, and my computer is not strong enough for the second one. So I felt like I'm going to play the first one, and I couldn't even enjoy it because I immediately went online for the best build. And right now I wasted 2 hours to going through different videos about the best build and the one that I want to have to be the, to be the best. This is such a, this mindset it's ruining my game. So I'm just going to scrap my level 5 that I have with the build, and I'm just going to enjoy the story, because I went immediately into best build. Right? It's just I played the game, I fired up the game, and I was thinking about, okay, I don't know how to play this because I'm a Diablo guy. But the Diablo Hellfire, I don't want to have anything to do with the Diablo Immortal and Diablo 4. I think that a lot of people was disappointed by this. So I didn't even. I mean, I was told that the story is nice, so maybe I'll play it for the story, but the price was too steep. And I don't want to get into this, but I didn't care about Diablo 4 this much. But anyway, Diablo Hellfire. So that's something that I know how to play. And I have right now Divinity Original Sin 2, because you can play it on tablet. So I fired it up on the tablet. And again, I'm walking around the first village. It's not even the village, it's like a coastline. And I'm just turning every rock, fighting with it's crazy. I'm reading everything, because, if you like to read, it's difficult for you just, just to leave everything and just, I can't really play these things. And then what I'm trying to say is that I started with that, with the idea that I'm going to play Path of Exile, the first one, and I went all the way to like I said, I went all the way to all these different builds, and then I realized that I really spent a whole evening reading about about these builds that other people enjoyed to discover and so on and so forth. And I was so depressed by my approach that I have to try it again and again and again. So I should have a bad gaming Fridays evenings, or I just go and explore. Actually, it could be fun. I don't know. Everybody's doing games these days, so maybe I should start as well. Like how not to game. It's really dark. I can't see anything anymore. I think I'm just muddying things around and making it really bad. Let me just maybe push this a little. Where's my white? A little bit more white. You can easily play all day. Oof, I can't. I can't. I envy you that you have that dedication because I would like to play some games. I know that, you know, these titles like Witcher 3 are very like people talk about like how good the story is, or I heard a lot of good stuff about Cyberpunk lately, like how really good it is, how much the game was improved, and like a lot of good stories. I what's the Ghost of Tsushima? I think it's another one that it's very famous. Dark Souls games, of course, and yeah, you wanted to try Cyberpunk, yeah. So you can do it with a new PC, and this is one thing I was thinking about getting a new PC, so I can play these games. But I was worried that I'm just gonna get straight into it, so I went for a different manufacturer with a different OS. That's how I'm going to put it. Only because you cannot really play games on that device, but it's really good for content creation. So that's what I did. I tricked myself into this. So yeah, you were right. Yeah. I don't want to name any brands. And I did it only because you cannot play the games. Otherwise, I wouldn't ever go into the brand. But I think that the very I have a Mac Mini, the old one, no old one. I think it was with like a second generation, and it was I think it was it's the only thing that I believe that it was well priced when it comes to these machines and devices that they produced. So and it's just my opinion. I'm pretty sure that there are people that are going to hate on me right now for saying this, but like I said, it's just I'm trying to trick my brain, or not even trick my brain. I'm trying to purposely stay away from gaming PCs because I know that I'm a big fan of Hunt Showdown. Ah, okay, all right. So you trick yourself this way. All right, but that wouldn't stop me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the, you know, I don't have a hardware to do it, right? So that was the answer. I don't have a. Well, I need 100% foolproof thing. I just, you know, it's really difficult for me to. Well, it's so dark here. Can you even see something? Yeah, maybe. Maybe the focal point. That's what you can see, and that's important. I think that I have a very similar, or very, you know, the shape right here. It's identical. So let me maybe try to find some. And then I'll go back to, you know, talking about the games, since this is a bad gaming Friday. Yeah, you can. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's really dark. So let me just do a couple adjustments, and then I'm just gonna call call it call it for today. I really think that they should go a little bit more in. Yep. Let's shape it a little better. Yeah. But right now it looks like it's falling, so I should probably adjust this a little bit from outside. Right. So let's make it like a little, like this little dance right here. So it has a little bit of that, you know, those. And then I can adjust it from here as well. And maybe connect it together. So it, and maybe you could go a little bit more like here and here to create like a little softer edge right there, because it's in the background. And as I'm painting this, I'm not even thinking about paint. I should get a little bit more focused. I was already thinking, this is true. You're gonna, you see how addicted the games are? I was already thinking that I want to play that Witcher 3 because everybody's talking about how good it is, and I tried it. I started it 4 times, and I don't think I don't think it's working for me. I don't know. But then I'm not into Dark Souls games either, even though they're really good and entertaining. But then for some reason, I think it's called Sekiro. It's like a Japanese Dark Souls, like a Dark Souls, but in Japanese environment, and that gripped me so much. It was, I don't know, it was like it was a little bit more. I think it was easier. I don't know. It's just the fact that really. It was difficult. I think it's difficult. It's not like I'm not that good when it comes to these games, so it is extremely challenging for me. Same as Path of Exile. I'm not. I understand that it's very similar to Diablo. It's not really. Since I'm hardwired to Diablo, some things like the branch tree and all these things are way too complicated, and they use different systems. So I didn't know what orbs are, and so on and so forth, and modifiers and whatever other stuff. So I have to Google everything. I remember. I can't even. I don't. Let's not start about Diablo, because I won't ever end up this stream. I'm a big Diablo Hellfire fan. have to probably find my old computer and try to fire it up just to experience that again. But I think that I'm enjoying Hunt Showdown the most these days. I think that that fits my okay, this is where I have to push it. Yeah, it's really dark. I don't think you can see it. Maybe I can push it a little bit this way to turn towards the camera, but I don't think that it works. And I'm really angry about this, and this. It's just the same thing. I have to work on that curve a little bit more, so maybe I should. And I'm gonna paint like more from imagination right now, or I'm going to adjust it as I wish it could be. Like maybe I need something here a little bit more, like with these large brush strokes. Perhaps I could push it this way so it almost disappears. But it is still there. Yeah. And then maybe I could hit it with this blue. So it so it's still going to read as a different thing, as a difference on that wall, but it's not necessarily going to read as a shadow. Maybe a little bit like from the top, so I have that optical illusion there, a little bit of here, like so. And there's a lot of that, a lot that has to be done here. But like I said, it's just right now I'm looking at this under the angle. Let's maybe just push it a little bit here, like underneath, and then correct it here, and then maybe push it even more, so it's just this way, and then a little bit more of a shadow right here, this direction. So I have that shape of that, and then maybe I could add it a little bit more saturated here. And you can see that right now I'm working mostly, or I was working mostly with a negative space, because there is not that much to do to make this interesting, just to play with these things perhaps, and soften the transitions, and maybe hit it a little bit more here so it doesn't look that warm. And a little bit here. Yeah, I don't think I can do more here because it's really dark and I can't see. It's just a little adjustment, and I still, there is still a lot of detail, because this is a complicated setup, even though it doesn't look that way. But there is a lot of imperfections here, not imperfections, a lot of plane changes right here that I would have to get a little bit more accurate. And it requires a time for me, how slow I am when it comes to these things, adjustments, and seeing my mistakes. So it's not just a simple shape like a cup that I'm used to do quickly, because those are just ovals, right? So yeah, but it's a lot of fun. Time to develop a night vision. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That would be. Maybe I should have asked for that for Christmas. See, like a little these little. And I hope that my head is not in it, because right now I'm trying to paint the way that you can see it better, because that's how really dark it's here. Let me squeeze more of this white here. You like how it looks? Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I appreciate that. It's going to be another experimentational bed painting Friday. I decided to do more of these lighter, a little bit more impressionistic ones, only because that's probably where I lack the most of confidence when it comes to painting. And that might be also the reason why I don't like to go out that much to paint, because it shows, especially with landscapes, if you are not, if you don't know how to use temperatures properly and saturations, and if you don't know how to use your pigments. So you have to be a little bit more bold. And if there is something that I don't like to do, it's these bold moves before I'm fully satisfied with composition and everything. So something to think about. A little bit right here, a little kind of I don't want to say the highlight, but to show the turn of the form that the light is right there. And then also maybe just right here. Let me get a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more here, because this is very. At the beginning, I was talking about this, that this is extremely demanding way to paint if you want to work a little bit more with color, because it's white on white on white, so you really have to push a color more. I think that I'm comfortable with, not I think, I'm sure that I have to push it more than I'm comfortable with. And it's okay to do with Bad Painting Friday. So, because I felt that the last couple times I did the setup that I know how to paint, and really the previous Bad Painting Friday last week threw me off in a very good way. It threw me off in a very, very good way. So I'm gonna do these setups. See, I'm just trying to make it a little bit more interesting right now. Not necessarily what I see, but how I feel about the painting. And I don't. And this is an important part, that for some reason when I work a little bit more my style, I am a little bit more confident with these adjustments. And right now, for some reason, I'm looking at this and I feel lost. And when I say lost, I don't know which decisions would be beneficial, and I really have to start working more on this. So I extend the knowledge and the craft and the experience also here. Because you remember, I talked about this a lot. I want to choose a style or the approach based on what painting needs, rather than just, oh, I know only this, therefore I'm going to paint this way. And these impressionistic kind of colors and paintings are very good example of where the limitations of my experience is. So I'm excited to do more of these little random ones. At least I think your whites work better than my snow painting did last Friday. I need to give that another try later. Overcast snowy day was more difficult than I anticipated. I don't know if you had a chance to really think about it, but I saw your post, and I wanted to well, first of all, I think it's really, really good, regardless what you think. My personal opinion was that it looked pretty cool. There are certain things that you can, make better, of course, but it all comes down to, excuse me, I have that nasally sound and I can't get rid of it for some reason. Excuse me. So I was looking at that painting, and you mentioned about the snow and the perfect and the proper technical way of painting snow. Before, oh, you saw it. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I think it was the value and temperature issue I need to fix, but I don't know until I put them to the test. I wanted to tell you that you should think and decide on temperatures and values based on the composition and the mood that you want to create with the composition. I'm thinking about, I'm looking at this painting that I'm doing right now. It's also beneficial for you to think about that maybe in terms of what mood do you want to create. I don't want this painting to be necessarily tonal. I don't want it to be dark. I want it to be light. I have plenty of dark paintings. So I decided, instead of, again, painting the wall exactly as I see it, the ground exactly as I see it, I wanted to push the colors a little bit more, only to create some randomness. And maybe from that randomness and chaos, maybe I might like something that I haven't seen before, and push and examine that a little bit. So when you think about your compositions and your paintings, instead of thinking technically as a first step, I would recommend you to think about that composition and what are you trying to say. It's that concept that we talk about with writing. You don't think about mistakes. You don't think about like grammar when you're trying to get the thought down. That's gonna go second and third, right? You're going to have these revisions and additions of the idea, but you still have to refer to the raw idea that you had in your story. Otherwise, it's going to get boring and the kind of meh that I was talking about, and I talk about a lot. So I was talking about the temperatures, what kind of temperatures outside, because when it's minus 20, and you can see like a whale of like the coldness has particular temperature there, and it's very, very cold and it's cool. So I would use purples in the shadows, just to get that really just to squeeze the coldness as much as possible out of it. And as it gets warmer and warmer and warmer, and you want to again create a different feeling of snow being really, that kind of a mixing with the mud, and it's warming up. It's getting that kind of a grayish, I want to say yellowish color, that's completely different vibe, completely different idea of what you're trying to communicate. So instead of choosing and this is, like I said, this is only my personal opinion. That is, you're pretty good artist yourself. You can make a decision yourself, but I wouldn't approach paintings based on a formula, because then they're going to get formulaic and repetitive. I'm going for a mood, I'm going for something that I want to communicate, and then I'm going to adjust my palette accordingly, rather than, oh, I have to paint snow, so let me squeeze white and blue, right? So it's just a really quick tip or quick idea when it comes to thinking about snow. And then also you can check pictures of. You can do it online, or you can do it. You can go to museum. There are plenty of impressionists that painted a winter. And especially when you really want a really good winter, not only compositions but also temperatures and color harmonies, Russians are pretty good with this. Russian impressionists, like the late 18th century, 19th century, beginning of 20th century. These guys, since it is really cold in Russia, and St. Petersburg, it's you have a polar day and almost a full polar day and full polar night. They have pretty cold winters, so you can see whole transitions from super cold to all the way that kind of a melting down of winters, which is pretty cool. I would definitely recommend you to check them out, and also all the Scandinavian painters. I mean, they all have this down because that's what they see every day. That's what they are. That's what their environment is. So these are the things that I would think about. And I saw multiple beautiful paintings. I think his name, well, it's Koinji. Let me check how to spell it in English. It's a Russian painter. He's a little bit more like postmodern and maybe a little bit too abstract, but still. Let me see if I can find some of his paintings. Just a second, I have to find the proper spelling. It's interesting because when I used to live in St. Petersburg, my apartment where I live was next to his studio. He's not alive anymore, but he has like a in the same house, in the same apartment building. It's like a historic, not historic, it's a his house was there, and he built a studio out of his apartment. So there's like instead of roof, he has like a huge window there. And I used to live in the apartment building next to it. So let me see if I can find a translation. Hopefully I can. So I think that he's known for like a weird landscapes with the winter and I think this is his name in English translation. Just a second. Next to computer finally. And this is strictly about color, not necessarily about Quingy. Okay, I hope that I spelled it correctly. Let me know. So this would be a one when it comes to color, and then of course I can't really talk about Russian master of landscape and omit just a second. I'm just searching for them. I got it. I can't really talk about the Russian landscape painters and not talk about Leviathan. That guy is when it comes to yeah, he has like a night scenes, and so like a really weird kind of a you have to really search through his stuff. It's not necessarily my style of painting, but the color harmonies are pretty awesome, I have to say. And then if you really want like true heavy hitter, I think probably the best, in my opinion, landscape painter, it's Isaac Leviathan. This guy is just I mean check it yourself, and there's no really much that I have to say about this guy, because his painting speaks for itself, and I think it's one of the coolest painters in general, not necessarily landscape painters, but this guy knew how to paint. And seeing his paintings live, it's like it's a perfect combination of composition, color harmonies, saturations, and he's like an improved version of Monet for me personally when it comes to color, because he added a little bit more realism there. He was a little bit more on the money for me, and it's very these two landscape painters are very close to each other in my opinion, but Leviathan hits it a little bit more hard when it comes to this, and I think it's because of his classical training, so he can kind of push it even harder. They were really nailing it. I mean, I have to give them they like late imperial Russian painters like that 19th century. It's just whatever you open, whichever painter you choose, it's a masterpiece after masterpiece. I mean, these are large canvases. These are big canvases. This is not, these are not small ones. No one, in Russia, they don't do things small. They do things big. I have to. That's how it is. I know it's just it sounds strange, but that's what they do. That's what it is. When it comes to, I'm going to turn on the lights in the studio, so I can I can see at least something to, at least I can see, so I can clean my brushes. And it's going to be end for today. And you can see how the setup changed, how blue everything is. It's really hard to be precise on the small canvas, but it also, you know, it also very difficult to be um, so, I mean, you have to, because the problem with large canvases is because you have a large areas of shape that they need to be filled with some interest. So that's what we were talking about, that you know, you see maybe, I mean, when you look on this area of palette, so his brush stroke would go from here to here to here. And that would be for him one value, one brush stroke on the large canvas. From a distance, this look like a one continuous, let's say that's a cloud. But when you get close to it, it has all these little shapes and imperfections. And you can even see it a little bit. I'm just going to try to point it like around here. Oops. Like there, like a little blue smudge right there. Camera is exaggerating. It's trying to pick it up because it doesn't know what's happening there. It's trying to somehow make sense out of it. And I think that my shadows are too dark for that environment and so on and so forth. So it looks a little too heavy. But it's besides the point, because like I said, I really have to get more of these bad painting Fridays, and not bad painting Fridays that are in my painting style, let's say. So I'm trying to push myself with these lighter pigments, lighter colors, and really when it comes to a feeling and composition and overall understanding of what landscape is and how to compose landscape properly, Leviathan, it's the guy to go for. Because I might have and the reason why I said that Leviathan is a little better for me when I'm comparing him to a Monet, because I think that he has a better compositions. And as you know me, I saw there is one of his painting. It's called it's a Russian lake, Isaac Leviathan. I saw this painting in a Russian museum in St. Petersburg. That painting is, I mean, the beauty and the freshness that and the shadows and you don't even see any other paintings in the museum. You can't unsee the atmosphere that he captured. It's just, I mean, and that's the reason why I don't like to go outside, because, you know, you can't reproduce these things. And he did a lot of sketches, and then he went to studio, and after these sketches he reproduced these beautiful large paintings. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. He was so good. He was so good. And before him, it was another famous Russian landscape painter. His name is Shishkin, and he was a little too. He was not impressionist. He was a classical painter, but there's a second one. How do I spell his name? I don't remember. This way, yeah. Ivan Shishkin. But he was a little too. And this guy's when it comes to like preciseness, it's more like a like he painted every leaf. almost. It looks like that. But there is a lot of to study when it comes to these painters, and that's an old school. This is the one before him, so he's older. He was before. It was before the kind of a impressionism, or he chose not to do impressionism, I would say, because impressionism was, I think it existed already when he was, because I think he died at the end of 1800s, I believe. Let me see. So I'm pretty sure that he knew about Impressionism existed, but that was not his style. So you might learn a lot. I mean, when you look at his paintings, Shishkin, he was almost, it's almost like a kitsch, but he captured a Russian nature so well. I had a chance and pleasure. I had that, the opportunity to travel a little bit, and he really captured that very essence. And he really knows, he understands the trees, he understands the different how do you say, different types of trees. And it really shows. You could tell, oh, this is that tree. It's more like a botany than anything else when it comes to it. Like you could tell, oh, these are these flowers, these are that flowers. And he was really precise when it comes to this. So this is something like Ivan Shishkin. It's for me, it's a I don't know, Bouguereau of forest, if you wish, like the highest possible accuracy and realism that's possible before it turns to a hyperrealism. So when I want to study a color and freshness, I go for Leviathan. When I want preciseness and understanding how paint a tree like perfectly, I will go for Ivan Shishkin. When it comes to, of course, Russian painters. So, yeah. So you might want to check these. So I would go for Quingy if you want to go a little bit more into that kind of abstract representation and night scenes and so on and so forth, because he's very good with that. And when it comes to preciseness, did you want to capture that it's a nature of Netherlands, let's say, I would really study Shishkin. And if you want to go into like full-blown impressionism, I will go for Leviathan. These are my three. You're checking them out already? Okay, awesome. Awesome. I should start cleaning my palette because it's a mess here. And I need to clean it up because I want to work a little bit on Blender for some other projects that I'm working on. So yeah, these are my three picks when it comes to helping you. I didn't. I really thought that I was actually thinking about you today, that I'm going to sit down and push myself to work a little bit more on my social media presence. And then, you know, and then I started to paint and I turned on the stream. So, but I'm glad that you join join us today. So, because this, I had this in my mind to give to tell you this, but it's I mean, talking about these heavy hitters in, I don't know, 150 characters in X or Blue Sky, it's just, it doesn't give it justice. So you can, you know, you can adjust your painting according to whatever preference you have. Yeah, that's you're absolutely. I'm pretty sure that you have not you, but most of us have the same problem. And since I really like to go and explain, and I was, you know, my students are all. They were actually. I was doing. I wanted them to evaluate me, and I wanted to be. I wanted them to be honest with me. I asked my students that, what do you think that is the biggest problem that I should work on when it comes to, you know, dealing with these classes, and what should I improve on? They were very honest, and they told me that, dude, you talk too much about details that no one cares. and and I don't know if it's just because I like to read, like, you know, Lord of the Rings and so on and so forth. So I like the long explanation and dive deep into all the possible outcomes. And young artists today, they want to be quick and correct. So I have to work on that. You disagree? Okay, well then, you know, then I have to tell you that you are the old school. Yeah, they are young. Yeah. But I think that they prefer that 150 characters to just get to the point. Why are you talking about stuff that no one cares, right? So, and sometimes I get really stuck when it comes to these things. I'm really, really stuck to the point that it kind of bothers them. And then I open the Google and I start Googling, and and especially when I can't remember a name of a painter, I'll just go on the deep dive for hours into my memory, and I sometimes it's that I remember specific picture or painting rather, and the shape, and I'm trying to describe this shape to Google just to find that painting, and it takes time. It's process of elimination with this kind of process. It's just because I love painting so much, and not paintings, like art in general, that there is, I'm really trying to absorb as much as possible visually and remember that. And sometimes it's difficult to recall because some paintings might be similar and I'm thinking about something else and pointing, and I point myself to the wrong direction. So, and even right now, I told like 5 times that I'm going to finish and end, and I'm still going on and on whining here. So I don't want to waste any more of your time. I hope that you enjoyed this little sketch. It looks bad right now, so please do not don't judge it right now, or judge it. Who cares, right? It's Bad Painting Friday, but I'll try to take a picture of it tomorrow, also with the previous one from last time. So we can compare them and contrast whether there is improvement or not with these. So I might be here tomorrow as well, doing some digital paintings, because studio deserves their half of the studio. It's a classical painting, another half is a digital. So I think it deserves 2 presents. So I hope I'll be able to be here tomorrow. I'll see. I can't promise but I'll do my best. And it's probably going to be later. It's going to be like evening time, so that's why I said that digital. So I hope that you enjoyed your Bed Painting Friday today, and hopefully see you tomorrow. All right, take care, guys. Have a nice rest of the day. Bye.